Today, in American society, the cultural diversity is changing, which also means a change in the diversity of classrooms. In education, this means that teachers have to find a way to meet the needs of students who come from all different backgrounds. More diverse classrooms bring with them the need to change the way in which the teacher presents information to his or her students. The question to be answered is, how can an elementary social studies teacher use research and/or evidence-based pedagogy to address the needs of a diverse student population? Differentiated instruction is defined as an approach to teaching and learning where students with varying learning abilities work within the same class. The purpose of differentiation is to maximize student growth and individual success by meeting students where they are, and serves to allow teachers to use best practices to move all students toward proficient levels. Differentiated instruction can be used to help students apply content, and since there are diverse learners within a classroom setting, teachers should have a variety of teaching strategies under their belt. With differentiated instruction, students are met at their academic levels rather than given work that is above or below their grade level. According to Richardson, in today's educational society, differentiated instruction is a common practice. Richardson also states that students should experience challenge, success, and satisfaction. According to the Regional Educational Laboratory Mid-Atlantic, the idea of differentiated instruction is that all students follow their own trajectory of learning and growth. Differentiated instruction should be a consistent part of teaching and is intended for all students. Teachers need to change their teaching styles and how they present information to differentiate effectively. Multiculturalism is defined by Stables as a body of beliefs and practices in terms of which a group of people understand themselves and the world and organize their individual and collective lives. According to Stables, multiculturalism is an educational strategy in which students' cultural backgrounds are used to develop effective classroom instruction in school environments. It supports the development of identity, solidarity, critical thinking, and liberatory action. Multiculturalism can be seen as generally premised on two assumptions: that children should learn not to discriminate unfairly on grounds of ethnicity or culture, and that sensitivity to cultural and ethnic difference promotes social justice and/or harmony between people and is morally educated. One example of how to implement multiculturalism into your classroom is by learning about a different country every week. By learning about new countries and their language, food, and culture, children will begin to see the importance of respecting others who are different than they are. With each country, children whose ancestors come from that particular country can bring in a food, musical instrument, or an artifact that represents that country's culture. The students' ideas about the world can be expanded in your classroom by catering to the needs of multicultural students and their families. Learning styles, or the multiple intelligence theory, is defined by Hanifin as the ability to solve problems or fashion products that are of consequence in a particular cultural setting or community. The purpose of teaching to learning styles is that all students learn differently. One method of instruction that works for one student will not always work for another. Each child responds to information differently, and it is important that teachers are aware of that fact. Some aspects of learning styles are intrinsic and may not change much, whereas others can be modified by the way in which the learning environment is organized. One way to reach one of the 8 multiple intelligences, the bodily kinesthetic intelligence, in a social studies classroom is by having the students act out a scenario that would have happened in history. If the students are learning about the Underground Railroad, have some students act as slaves escaping plantations at night, and have other students be the Northern abolitionists who took them in and kept them safe. This example of acting out a situation caters to the bodily kinesthetic learners. Another way to reach students who have a musical intelligence is by having them learn a song. Almost anything can be put to a song so students learn it better. If you are learning about longitude and latitude or the 50 states, those subjects can be put to music for students to learn them better. Find what works best for your students by not just sticking to one intelligence or learning style. Explore all 8 of the multiple intelligences and watch how your students grow in their understanding of the subject matter. Response to intervention, otherwise known as tiered learning, is defined by Echevarria, Hasbrook, and the Center for Research on the Educational Achievement and Teaching of English Language Learners as an instructional service delivery model founded on 2 key premises: that all children can learn when provided with appropriate, effective instruction, and most academic difficulties can be prevented with early identification of need followed by immediate intervention. The purpose of using response to intervention is to provide specialized supplementary instruction and intensive intervention to students who need additional assistance. An example of using RTI in your classroom is to give instruction one way and track the progress of your students. If students do not understand the information the first way you presented it, then maybe try a different way of presenting the information. After you have presented information for the second time in a different way, it is time to reassess the students to see if this second way was beneficial to the student. If this second way has not proven to be useful, keep trying new ways for students to grasp information and hold on to it. By embracing the concept of differentiation throughout the public school system, it will benefit students for generations to come. Each child has the unique gift of learning in their own way. That unique way of learning should be taken advantage of by the student and by the teacher who has that child in their classroom. Not only will the teacher become a better person by having that child in their classroom, that child will grow up to do great things just because their teacher gave the time to teach the child how they needed to be taught. The teacher taught the child at their level, pace, and through their learning style. I challenge you as a teacher to differentiate your instruction to meet each child's learning needs through multiculturalism, their learning style, and tiered learning. Remember, one size does not fit all needs for students. Each student should have that differentiated instruction throughout their school days and even on into college. As the child furthers their education to receive a higher degree as an adult, they will have the ability to know that their teachers taught them at their level using differentiation.